Hello everyone, this is the Early Childhood Voices 2022 conference. I'm very glad to introduce our study to you. Our study is about the macro and micro structure of story retelling in children aged 3 to 6 years. I am Shasha Li from Shanghai Normal University. There are two other authors in this research. Miao Tian from Zhejiang Vocational Academy of Art and Nianyang Wu from Shanghai Normal University. Mrs. Wu is my supervisor. Research on the development of children's narrative ability has paid full attention to the aspects of macro and micro structure, but we find that the analysis of the 6 dimensions of the macro-structure story grammar and the development of children's narrative abilities are still extremely limited. There are 3 types of infant narratives: narrative script, the narrative of personal events, and the narrative of imagination. The narrative used in this study belongs to the 3rd type, which is the imaginary narrative. Its content comes from the picture book stories read by the subjects, and they will use storytelling to explore the imaginary narrative. In this study, the expression of the subject narrative capacity was promoted through the adult narration of traditional picture books, oral narration, and visual presentation. So, we utilized the corpus analysis method to examine the narrative ability of children aged 3 to 6 years by age and gender based on the perspectives of macro and micro structure. Our research hypothesis is that there are great and gender differences in the macro and micro structure of narrative, and there is a correlation between the macro and micro structure of children's narrative. A total of 137 oral corpora were collected from children aged 3 to 6 years, which were divided into 2 stages, reading and evaluation. According to parents and teachers, these children have normal intelligence, normal expression, low language or learning problems, no hearing problems, and no psychological or other disorders. All these subjects are Chinese 普通话 children. In the reading stage, the main tester first reads the story of the picture book Guri and Gula, and then the children are asked to retell the story, with the whole process being recorded. All recordings are made with the permission of teachers and parents. In the evaluation stage, the macrostructure dimension adopts the 6-dimensional analytical structure: story background, triggering event, international reaction, action plan or attempt, result, and response. The microstructure adopts the 2-dimensional analysis structure, contextual anaphora, and correlative words or connective words. The findings showed that the macrostructure level of children's narrative ability varied significantly among age groups. Furthermore, there are age and gender differences in narrative length. In addition, there is a significant positive correlation between the macro and micro structure of children aged 3 to 6 years. For example, in the small group stage, the word 然后, which represents the undertaking relationship, is used more frequently, no matter whether it is used correctly or not. As shown in Corpus 1, the frequency of 然后 used from small to large classes gradually decreases. In the process of narration, children aged 3 to 6 years develop the macro and micro structure at the same time. The macro and micro structures influence each other in the construction of the story and showed a relatively fast developmental speed. In addition, there is a significant positive correlation between the dimensions within the macro and micro structure, indicating that the development of different dimensions is consistent and that there is an internal correlation between them. From our study, we have some implications for families. When you are communicating with your children, it is beneficial to consciously guide them to use complete and coherent language to express themselves. We also have some implications for participants. For kindergarten teachers, you should understand the developmental level and characteristics of the narrative ability of children aged 3 to 6 years. It is recommended to use methods such as story discussions and interactive questions to promote the development of children's narrative abilities when teaching reading. Thanks for listening.